Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday and I have a busy day today. But before I get started on my day, I wanted to share some really interesting insights with you today on staying younger. You guys know I talk about a friend I have up here. She's in her 80s and she is the picture of youth. I mean, she's vital and healthy and strong and active and just all the things I want to be. She's amazing. And I actually ran into her the other day doing Uber. I was sitting in my car. It happens to me a lot up here. I live in a small town. So, everybody knows everybody. But anyway, I was sitting in my car waiting for an order. And who comes walking up but Joyce? She saw me and she comes over and we start chit chatting. And just, talking about random stuff. And the next thing I know, she gets in my car and, we were just full on. I forgot I was even doing Uber, which is good because I didn't get an order. But anyway, we were talking about life and stuff. And she was telling me that she does DoorDash. Yeah, I think it was DoorDash that she's doing it, and she loves it. She loves doing it, but she only does it during the day because she doesn't like driving at night. But anyway, I was just telling her how much I admire her. I just see her walking around town all the time. And I just, I wish I had half her energy. And she was basically just, telling me her secrets. And the most important thing that she has found in keeping herself young and healthy or whatever is not giving up her independence. And well, let me explain. She, like I said, she's in her 80s and she has a lot of friends in her age group. And she's seen a lot of her female friends give up their independence. And she said it ages them overnight. Like they stop driving for one. A lot of women do at a certain age. They just don't feel comfortable with their driving skills. And she said, she doesn't feel comfortable driving after dark, which I feel the same way and I'm 20 years younger than her. But she still drives during the day. And she said, once you give up that independence of being able to jump in your car and go places and take yourself to the doctors and not rely on other people and have to set up appointments and feeling trapped. She said that makes a huge difference because she drives a lot of her girlfriends around. They rely on her, which she's more than willing to do. But she feels so bad because a lot of these women didn't need to give it up. Some people give it up for financial reasons. We've talked about that because it can be pricey to maintain a car and tags and the registration and gas and maintenance. So I understand that aspect of it. But if you can hold on to your vehicle, by all means, especially if that's going to help you with your independence. Now, a lot of people can rely on family. They have kids that can take them around. She has two daughters, and they would be more than happy to do that for her, she said. But they both work, and she doesn't want to have to sit around and schedule appointments. She wants to be able to go and do what she wants to do when she wants to do it. She said it's a mental thing too. She knows that she can get in her car and drive down to the beach if she wants to. And also she's doing what did I say, DoorDash, and she needs her car for that. And she had surgery, I guess, a while ago. I don't see her very often, so I wasn't aware, but she had to stay home for a while. She couldn't get out, and her daughters were coming over and checking on her. And she thought, this is the beginning of the end when something like this happens, because it takes so long to recoup as we get older. And everybody was coming and waiting on her. And she said it was nice. She appreciated that. But she could see how you could easily fall into that trap of just, letting other people take over and take care of you at a certain point. She said she had to force herself to, get up out of bed and, start healing and get back out there. And her daughters had even suggested that she move in with one of them at that point. And she was like, no way. She was not ready for that. She has her own apartment. It's not assisted living. It's a lower income apartment because, she's in her 80s. And I think she said her husband passed away 30 years ago. She's been single for the past 30 years. And she didn't really make a ton of money. I know she worked for the school district. I forget what she did, but she wasn't a teacher or anything. But so she, she has a limited income, which is a reason why she's doing DoorDash, or pretty sure it was DoorDash, one of those delivery services. And she said, "Don't give up your independence. Don't stop driving. Don't let other people take care of you if you can avoid it. Do not go into assisted living." Because she said, just from what she's seen from other friends that have gone that route, it ages them. It totally ages them. It's harder for her because she chooses to do things on her own, but she feels like that's what's kept her young. That's what's kept her healthy and strong and mentally sharp. Having to do these things for herself. So I really respected hearing from her for that. Oh, good, 5 minutes. But she goes camping with her daughters. They have an RV, and a lot of people are like, at her age, why would you want to go camping? She loves it. She loves going camping and getting outdoors and nature. Nature's her church. And that was another thing. She said a lot of people her age, they get active in their church because they want a sense of community. Well, she said her church is nature. She's not a churchy girl. But she joins clubs. She's in the women's club up here. She's joined a crafting club. She's joined a book club. She stays busy. She stays active. And I always see her walking around town. I'm always, and she, like I said, she has her car, but she tries to conserve on gas when she can. She uses it just for, appointments and doing her job and that kind of stuff. Plus she likes the exercise of, walking around town. And she gets to talk to people like me. She runs into people all the time, and, she chit chats. But I just thought that was great advice, because I've seen it too. I've seen people that just decided to get old. They're like, I'm tired. I'm tired of driving, and I'm, tired of doing this and that. And I get it. We do get tired, but it's not to our benefit to quit doing those things. I mean, maybe for a time, take a break. But when you quit doing all the things, and you forget how, your world just gets smaller and smaller. So as long as you can, keep driving. Don't give that up. I think that's number one, because that's the thing I worry about the most, is the day that I'm not able to drive. Because I do worry, because even at night already, I have issues with night driving and stuff. I try not to drive that much after dark. And if I do, I want to just be in my area where it's familiar. But I've seen so many people quit driving as early as their 60s. And it's like, that's just not a good idea, to give that up. And it makes you feel better about yourself when you're more independent. You're not relying on other people to take care of you in any way. But I think a lot of people also get lonely. That's why they appreciate, giving certain things up, because then they know their family's going to have to come and take care of them. And, I get that too. But for me, I would rather have my independence as long as I can. And she's always done side jobs since I've known her. I've probably known her for at least 20 years. And she's been like a school crossing guard. And, like now she's doing the DoorDash. And she's just, she always finds ways to stay busy and bring in a little bit of extra money, because I know she's on a limited income. It's just her by herself. And she said she when her husband passed away, she was in her 50s, she didn't look for another man. She decided she was never going to remarry. He was the love of her life. And she's hot. She's a good looking older lady, and she's fit. I wish I looked as good as her. She's pretty amazing. And she's always getting her hair done, and she's just as cute as a button. She just stays busy and active, and I really appreciate seeing people like that. It encourages me, and I just thought I would share that with you guys. So yeah, just don't stop. Just don't stop. Just keep doing what you're doing. If you get tired, take a break, but don't quit. You know what I mean? There's so many things that people just say, oh, well, I guess this means I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not dancing anymore because I might fall and break a hip, or, I don't want to drive anymore. And, it's funny though, most couples that I know, married couples, as they get older, it seems like the woman takes over and does most of the driving. I see that a lot. For some reason, men are less likely to drive after a certain age, at least from what I've seen. That may not be true everywhere. I know it was true in my mom's case. She just didn't like my dad's driving after a certain point. You know, he made her nervous. So she did all the driving. But again, not at night, you know, and that's okay. She still was able to take herself to, take herself to the doctor's appointments and go visit people. And my mom didn't even drive on the freeway. She didn't learn to drive until she was in her 40s. I was 16 and I convinced her when I got my license that maybe she should consider driving, give her some independence. So yeah, she was in her 40s when she finally learned how to drive and changed her life. But she never got on the freeway. And we live in California. You know how hard it is to go places? She would find the back roads from here to Disneyland if she had to, but she would not get on the freeway. But God bless her, she went everywhere she wanted to go. So anyway, I do got to get ready. I'm going to go to my day job, and then I'm going to pick up the kids from school, and then I'm going to do Uber with Diana tonight. So I got a busy day. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.